When a woman distances herself or ends the relationship, the natural reaction for many is to express just how much she meant to them, hoping to change her mind. It's an instinctive move to try and win her back by reminding her of the bond you shared. But this often backfires. Instead of making her reconsider, it usually strengthens her resolve to move on. This approach not only diminishes your attractiveness, but also signals that you're simply waiting in the wings should she decide to return. As men, it's easy to believe that by showing her you're still there, you'll stay on her radar. But the truth is, if she knows you're waiting, she's even less likely to come back. Now, let me share the most powerful strategy you can employ to make a woman regret walking away and increase your chances of a future with her. This is Stoic Approach to life, and I remember years ago when an ex-partner decided to end things. I did everything I could to remind her of the great times we had, telling her she wouldn't find someone who cared for her as I did. I even tried to provoke jealousy by hinting I'd find someone else. In hindsight, I see that all I did was push her further away. Looking back, that was a blessing. I moved on to much healthier relationships. This leads to a crucial mindset, the I'll be fine attitude. It's the realization that you'll not only survive, but thrive. And trust me, you will be fine, so long as you don't give up on yourself or on finding the right connection. It's important to recognize where you might have made missteps, not to dwell on them, but to improve. Acknowledging mistakes is empowering because it means you can do better next time. It wasn't about you, it was about choices you made. And there's always another chance. So let's focus on making her question her decision to leave. There's a quote by George Herbert, a 16th century poet, that captures the essence of a powerful mindset. Living well is the best revenge. The way to make a woman regret losing you is to simply embrace the situation with complete calmness and live your life to the fullest. But here's the crucial part. Don't live well with the intention of making her regret her decision. Women have a sharp sense for social cues, and they can easily tell if you're trying to send a message. If you try to show her through your attitude or your social media that you're doing great without her, she'll see through it. Anytime someone senses emotional manipulation, they instinctively resist, and it backfires. To have the desired impact, it has to be genuine. So when she ends things and then notices that you're doing just fine, that you've moved on, and that you seem genuinely happy, your value in her eyes will skyrocket. Because chances are the next guy she's with won't be what she hoped for. And if she looks over and sees that you're thriving, it might just make her reconsider her choice. However, one of the most important aspects to remember is this. You must not position yourself as a backup plan. If she gets the sense that you're just waiting around for her to change her mind, she'll never see you as the one she truly wants. Sure, she might reach out to you when things don't work out with someone else or when she needs a bit of validation, but she'll pull away again. No self-respecting, confident person should ever settle for being someone's fallback option. Does this mean you need to cut her out of your life completely? That depends on your emotional state. If you find yourself consumed by thoughts of her, overanalyzing every interaction and struggling to regain control, it's often best to implement a complete blackout. This approach is often referred to as the no-contact rule, where you intentionally cut off and avoid any contact with her as much as possible. But here's the key. You can't make it obvious. Here's what I mean. Imagine she calls you. What's the best way to handle it? Do you? Option A, answer the call and try to reignite things? Honestly, this usually won't work, especially if you're still caught in that emotional quicksand, as you're unlikely to come across as your most attractive self. Option B, ignore the call entirely? For many, this is extremely difficult. Plus, ignoring her signals that you're so upset or hurt that you can't even bring yourself to answer. What does this tell her? It tells her she still has power over you. So what's option C, the right way to handle it? Let me give you two better approaches. First, if she calls, pick up the phone. Keep the conversation brief, about a minute. Be polite, but maintain a sort of indifferent tone. After a minute, say, "Hey, I've got to take care of something real quick. Can I call you back in a few?" Then, don't call her back. Continue with your day and take satisfaction in knowing that she's probably waiting for you to call, wondering why you didn't. At the very least, you're occupying her thoughts in a positive way, leaving the conversation on a high note. This is far better than letting her realize during the call that you're still eager to get back with her, which would likely lead her to end the conversation on her terms. What about when she texts you? Here's my usual recommendation. Let's say she texts you during the day. Wait until just before you go to bed, then send a message that says, "Hey, just saw this. I'll hit you up tomorrow." Then, don't follow up. Some might say this is playing games, and others might worry, "What if I lose my chance?" But here's the truth. In the beginning, there's no avoiding this. Eventually, you genuinely won't care when she calls or texts, but at first, you have to fake it a little. One of the things I always emphasize is the importance of demonstrating a willingness to walk away. There is power in walking away. There's power in a woman genuinely feeling like she's losing you for good. If you can't show that you're willing to walk away, you'll always be her best backup plan. And even if she gives you another chance, as I've mentioned before, you'll never have any real influence in the relationship. You'll always feel like you're the one chasing her. If you often find yourself in the position of being the one chasing the girl, especially when you really like her, where she always seems to hold the upper hand in the relationship, I strongly recommend you share your experiences in the comments below, and I promise to take my time to coach you to the best of my abilities. As I mentioned earlier, recognizing your mistakes is the first step toward becoming more attractive to her. Now let's get back to making her regret losing you. First, cut off contact. Don't completely ignore her if she reaches out, but don't go out of your way to keep the conversation going either. Don't use any interaction as a chance to invite her to hang out again. Let her truly feel that she's losing you and that you're completely fine with it. Here's the challenging part. You really do need to be okay with it. Speaking from experience, every time a relationship ended, and I thought she was the one, and that I'd never find someone like her, guess what? In every single case, I found someone even better. And without fail, there always came a time when the girl who left me reached out again. Every time. I often share the story about the woman who inspired the scrambler technique I teach. I was convinced I'd never hear from her again, but almost a year later, out of nowhere, she texted me saying she missed me. When you create some distance, you often realize that it wasn't really her who was special. It was your ego, your attachment, your fear of losing her. It wasn't actually her that you wanted, you just didn't want to lose what you thought you had with her. So here's the #1 way to make her regret losing you. And it's even something you can say if she's ending things. When she's breaking up with you, just say, "Sure, okay," and shrug it off like it's no big deal, because it shouldn't be. And genuinely be okay with it. The attitude you want to convey is, choose, don't need. What I mean by that is, you choose to be with her, but you don't need to be with her. When you respond with a simple, "Sure, all right," it shows that you were choosing to be in that relationship, not that you were emotionally dependent on it. You're not going to lose your mind because she's not around anymore. You were choosing her, and that's a very attractive quality to have. Women are naturally drawn to a man who chooses to be with them, not someone who feels the need to be with them. So, when she tells you that she's ending things and you let it casually roll off your shoulders, she's going to be taken aback. She might think, "Wait, that's strange, he's actually okay with this?" When you seem unbothered by the breakup, it catches her off guard. The validation she felt from your past interest suddenly vanishes. She might start to wonder, did he not care as much as I thought? Maybe he wasn't as needy or overinvested as I assumed. And then, just like that, she's left questioning herself. Did she make a mistake? Suddenly, that fear of loss kicks in. She thinks, maybe this guy is cooler than I thought. What if I really do lose him? You've now planted a seed of doubt in her mind, leaving her with a positive memory of you as she walks away. This opens the door for you to potentially reconnect with her in the future. But for this to work, you have to genuinely be willing to walk away, accepting that you may never see her again. If she does come back, it should be a pleasant surprise, not something you desperately need. If you're not truly okay with walking away, she will sense it. In those moments, you have to push yourself to seek out new opportunities with women who appreciate and are interested in you. You're better off doing that than trying to convince her to change her mind, because that's not going to work. One of the things I often tell those who come to me hoping to win back an ex is this. Let's work on building your confidence with other women. Let's remind you how to flirt, how to create attraction, and how to spark that chemistry again. Because even if you do end up reconnecting with the woman you want, you'll need those skills anyway. The more confident you become with other women, the more you'll naturally radiate that confidence, making you more attractive. The more you embrace the excitement of meeting someone new, the more that energy will come across. As I mentioned earlier, if you've been out of the dating game for a while, I've put together an idea to comment your experience so I can help identify any blocks to attraction you might have. It can even pinpoint the most likely reasons why a woman has pulled away from you in the past, or might be pulling away right now. And remember, whenever you start thinking about settling the score with a woman who broke your heart, just keep in mind, living well is the best revenge. Leave a comment, let me know what you think, and subscribe so you don't miss future insights. Thanks as always for watching, and always remember to keep embracing a stoic approach to life.